If your sciatica has been worse when you're driving or you're sitting in traffic or getting out of the car, your body's giving you a very specific message that you can't ignore. Now, I have patients all the time tell me that they get in the car and for the first 5 or 10 minutes, everything seems fine. They're having a pretty reasonable day. They start noticing though a bit of pressure building in the low back or even into the back of the hip and the buttock. And that pressure will gradually then turn into burning. That burning starts creeping into the back of the thigh. Then their foot starts tingling and the leg starts feeling strange. Now, no matter how many times people shift around in their seat, they just can't seem to get comfortable. They'll try leaning onto one side. They'll try adjusting the seat back. They'll try stretching at the traffic lights or trying to find that one position that doesn't quite aggravate things. And then there's the part that almost every single person mentioned. They get to their destination, they finally arrive, they open the car door, they stand up, and then suddenly when they're getting out of the car, it's even worse than the drive itself. That pain's excruciating. Now, if that sounds familiar, what you're describing isn't random. It's a pattern. And in fact, it's one of the most common patterns we see with sciatica. I call it a driving triggered sciatica pattern. The biggest misconception people have is assuming that the car itself must have been the problem. It must be the way the seat's designed. There must be something going on. They've tried adjusting the seats, they've bought cushions, they've even bought a new car, or just simply been in there trying to spend hours trying to figure out the best position. Some even go as finding a car with heated seats and a massager in it. Now, don't get me wrong, some of those things are great and they can absolutely help. But just like sitting at a desk, the car may not actually be the cause. It may simply be exposing a present problem that's in the background. Now, driving's one of the most common sciatica triggers because you're stuck in that one position. When most people think about driving, they think about sitting, but driving's actually more than that. You're sitting for an extended period of time, your hips, your lower back are held in a relatively fixed position, you're dealing with constant vibration from the vehicle, and you're repeatedly using pedals. And you have very limited opportunities to move around. Then after all that, you're expected to stand up and immediately just get going, start walking. That's quite a lot being asked of an already sensitive and irritated nerve. I often explain it to patients using the same dimmer switch analogy that I just used for sitting earlier. It's not always that you get into the car and immediately feel the pain. Instead, those symptoms just slowly dial up and build. You feel okay at first, but then that pressure starts building. The pressure starts burning, and the tingling starts, and then the numbness appears. And if that nerve's already irritated, driving is one of those things that just slowly turns that volume up. That's why so many people tell me, I'm fine for the first 10 minutes, but after that, my symptoms just keep building. Others will say things like my foot starts tingling when I drive for longer, it goes numb, all the way down the leg if I'm sitting for too long. And some people describe it as a feeling like that pain is just creeping further and further down the leg the longer and longer that drive continues. And for people, this is the worst part. The worst part isn't actually the drive. Some people can even get through the drive okay, but when they go to get up out of the car at the other end, they tell me that they feel like they're an old man getting out of their seat. They stand up and they feel this sharp grab through their buttocks. They sort of get stuck forward and there's this shooting pain as soon as they try to stand up. They're stiff, they're locked up. And for a few steps, they really have trouble getting going and then it slowly eases up again. Now, there's a really good reason for this because during the drive, your low back, your pelvis, your hips, that nerve, they've been sitting in the same period for a really long time. And suddenly you're asking the body to move an already compressed and relatively stiff fixed position into one that's upright and mobile and a weight-bearing position. Now, if that nerve's already irritated, the disc has been compressed, that transition can be enough to trigger that sharp grab, that shooting pain, or that sudden increase in symptoms. Now, let's talk about a few practical things that may help if driving's one of your biggest triggers. Firstly, remove any bulky things from your pockets. I know it sounds simple, but people all the time, I see it where they're sitting with a wallet or a phone in their pocket and it just creates unnecessary pressure through that region. Secondly, try to support the low back and sit evenly on both bones together rather than constantly having to lean to one side. And if possible, try to keep your hips slightly higher than where your knees and make sure you're not overreaching for those pedals, as that can just put additional strain in an area that doesn't need it. For longer drives though, one of the most effective strategies is just not waiting until those symptoms come so severe before you then get up and move. So if your symptoms usually begin after 30 minutes, don't wait until they become unbearable. Stop, get out, walk around for a few minutes and allow the body to reset before that irritation ramps right up. It's It's much harder to come back from it once it's there. When you do get out of the car, try turning your whole body to get out of the car rather than just like twisting through the low back. And then take a few controlled steps before you really start to get rushing off. Now, it's really important to understand that these strategies can be very helpful for reducing the symptoms during a flare-up. And they can make that drive much more comfortable and help you get through the day. But they don't necessarily explain why driving keeps setting these things off in the first place. And that's where this pattern becomes really important to understand. Because if driving causes tingling in the foot, sitting causes burning in the buttock, and getting out of the car creates a shooting pain down the leg, that combination tells us something. It suggests that nerve may be sensitive to sustained sitting, vibration, lower back and hip position, compression, or that transition from sitting to standing. And all of those behaviors give us valuable clues. That's why I often say that the symptom tells us where it goes, but it's that behavior that tells us what sets it off. Now, driving is a really useful information tool for us because it combines several common things into one situation. Firstly, it gives us insight into how the body responds under load, under pressure, position, vibration, and movement. And the good news is, take this away, please, that driving pain, when you get pain when you're driving, it does not automatically mean that your spine is ruined. It does not automatically mean you need surgery. And it certainly doesn't mean that the solution is simply just buying a more expensive car seat. What it does mean is that if regularly driving causes that burning, that tingling, the numbness, the foot symptoms, that shooting pain, it's worth understanding why. Because at the end of the day, seat adjustments, lumbar supports, we've got movement strategies, they can help you survive the drive. But if you keep driving and it keeps setting it off week after week, month after month, and honestly, we see people that have been putting up with this for years and years, the bigger question becomes this: why? Why is that nerve so sensitive in the first place? And that's exactly what a sciatica assessment is designed to answer. So at Aligned Chiro, we assess factors such as posture, spinal movement, nerve function, symptom behavior. We want to understand exactly what's going on, not just where the symptoms are, but why they're happening. If we need to, we can go and get some scans to further figure out what's going on. That might be imaging such as X-ray, might be MRI. We want to get these things to help build a clear picture and know exactly what that sciatica is caused from. Now, the goal isn't simply to make driving more comfortable. That's a good thing, but the goal is actually to understand what's irritating the nerve and determine what the most appropriate step is so that we can help the most. Now, if driving sets off burning, tingling, numbness, or shooting pain down your leg, especially if getting out of the car feels worse than the drive itself, just don't keep guessing. Let's get this sorted out. If you'd like to learn more, keep an eye out for the upcoming webinar that I'll be running, where we take a deeper dive into the causes of sciatica, why driving can be such a common trigger, and the different approaches available to help people recover. And by all means, if you want to get answers sooner, you don't want to wait for the webinar, you just want to figure it out, book in a sciatica assessment at Aligned Chiro. We'll assess your posture, your spinal movement, your nerve function, your symptom behavior, so you can better understand exactly what's irritating that nerve and then what the next step should be. You really don't have to keep planning your day around how long you're going to be able to sit in the car. Let's find some answers.